Do thoughts of melting glaciers, forest fires, widening holes in the ozone layer keep you up at night? Don't worry, you're not alone. There is a scientific explanation to all of it. What you're feeling is known as ecoanxiety or climate anxiety. It is a distress related to worries about the effects of climate change. It is not a diagnosed illness yet. Rather, an anxiety rooted in the uncertainty surrounding your future and alerting us to the dangers of a changing climate. A recent survey done by The Lancet last year found that 84% of total respondents aged between 16 and 25 years are worried about climate change. And among them, 59% are very or extremely worried. This is the largest of its kind survey that involved around 10,000 young people across 10 countries, and they responded on how they felt about the crisis. Also, the government's response to it. The current generation is born in a world quite different from that of their parents. Back then, the exploitation of the Earth's resources was prevalent. There was a very small percentage of people, however, who were actually talking about the planet's worsening condition. Simply put, there's more awareness. In contrast, teenagers and young adults today are aware of the crisis they are staring at. It directly impacts their future and their lives. Some young people feel the earlier generations have not yet made enough efforts to preserve our planet, protect it. And they no longer believe in governments. But how can you cope with anxiety, climate anxiety? Experts say that as uncertainty and a loss of control characterize the concern, the best treatment is to take action. Individually, you can join support groups, share your concerns with your close friends, spend more time in nature. Make changes to your lifestyle that are consistent with your values. Even spread awareness in your close circle to help ease out the stress. Our top focus in today's climate tracker. We're talking about eco-anxiety or climate anxiety, which is now being flagged as a concern among teenagers and young people in specific. You see, the world that they're living in today is very different than the one inhabited by previous generations. There is more awareness about climate-related disasters, natural disasters sparked by changes in climates, overheating of the planet, global warming. We've seen these firsthand, and now the question remains, what can be done? What kind of action can be taken to allay these concerns? Is it more awareness in schools, in colleges? Is it more action to be taken on part of governments? Experts call this a distress related to concerns about the effects of climate change. Now, as of now, it's not a diagnosed illness, but it is an anxiety rooted in uncertainty about the future. A recent survey done by The Lancet last year had found that 84% of young respondents aged between 16 and 25 years are concerned about climate change. And among them, a majority, that is 59%, are very or extremely worried. Now, to understand what this means for the youth of today, joining us now is Kata Nyland, a climate psychologist from Stockholm. Kata, thanks so much for joining us. Now, this is a story we've touched on before as well, climate anxiety, especially among young people. We've seen young activists take a global platform. They're talking about the fast-spreading changes in our planet, overheating, global warming. But the big question remains, what kind of action is being taken, and will it allay concerns of the youth?
Sorry, your question was what kind of action is taken?
Right, especially when you're talking about climate anxiety among the youth.
We have studies from, our latest study is from last year, where we could see that it's in 10 different countries. India was one of those countries, that climate anxiety is really high, the worries about climate, and it's different sort of emotions. So it's anger, frustration, and sorrow, and anxiety, fear as well. And it's very related to how much you think that the government is acting. So we can see that the youth feelings about climate is correlated with the perception of governmental inaction. So the higher you think that the government is not acting, the higher the ecoanxiety is, and the sorrow and the fear and the guilt and the frustration. So what sort of action to take towards this is that you need to help with regulating your emotions, help with dealing with your emotional feelings and your thoughts about it. But at the same time, you need to be a part of a collective that actually take action. And you need to see that adults and governments are acting towards a better future. It's if we want to lower the climate anxiety, if we want to make youth feel happier about their situation, then we need to lower emissions, high-end biodiversity, make the planet be better and the climate change less threatening.
Right.
So it's
Katia, you're
related
saying that the youth today needs to be part of a collective action of sorts against climate change. Now, we've seen forums like COP27, COP26 before that, but some of the biggest activists have chosen to stay out as a symbol of protest. So what is needed? What can governments do to sort of restore confidence in the youth of today that they're actually doing something about climate change?
Well, I think that most people that are engaged in climate are aware that we need structural changes. We need new laws, we need new social norms about how to live our lives, we need new policies and big effects, high impact decisions, really big, brave decisions. We need new economical systems as well. And this is really difficult for everyone to create by themselves. But if we go together, if we work together as governments, as globally, and as companies, or a part of the different collections we're a part of already, then we actually can make these changes. And that's what the youth need to see, how the structures are actually changing around the behaviors, that it's not only up to the individual consumer, that it's actually that the youth actually gets laws that protect their future and give them their human rights back.
Right, Katia, thank you so much for all those inputs and thanks for joining us on WION's Climate Tracker today.
Thank you so much.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.